Hi everyone, my name is Isabella Ng and I just finished my second year of nursing in the honors program at the University of Alberta. It took me a long time to figure out where I wanted to go to university and what for. I was a Schulich Scholar nominee, so I applied to a bunch of different schools all over Canada for science, mostly neuroscience, behavioral science, and psychology. However, in the end, I decided to go to U of A because it was close to home and it ranked pretty highly for all the programs that I was considering. I was going between neuroscience and nursing for a long time still, as they were both interesting topics. I was especially keen on the research side of the university's honors program, as I was really passionate about all things that we still don't know about the brain. However, once I learned that the U of A offered an honors program for nursing, I knew that's where I had to be. This way, I could have more job stability while still being able to research youth mental health. I really love the program so far. All of my peers are super supportive of each other, and I think it's easier to meet long-lasting friends in nursing, as generally you have classes with the same people throughout your entire degree. Nursing has a combination of lectures, labs, and clinical practice, so there's plenty of opportunity for all types of learning styles, especially hands-on. For the first 2 years, I'd say it's pretty fast-paced, as you're learning all the foundational information you need to apply to nursing practice before you really dive into the actual skills. For foundational courses at the U of A, you need a minimum pass of 71% or a C+. This is definitely doable if you put the work in. After foundational courses, many of the classes are only pass-fail, which lightens the load a lot. Personally, I didn't find the adjustment from high school to the university workload to be as intense as I imagined it, but it really just depends on your time management and learning what learning styles work best for you ahead of time. In nursing, you have to be really detail-oriented, but also learn that the overall bigger picture is often more important. With things like medications and diseases, it's impossible to know every single detail, but if you apply what you know, you can use critical thinking to figure it out. I definitely recommend keeping a drug table or a summary sheet for everything that you learn to keep track of the important things. Concept maps are also great for talking yourself through diseases, especially if you're a visual learner like me. You also want to find some friends in nursing and quiz each other on facts like anatomy, physiology, and pharmacology. A lot of the courses have plenty of group work because as a nurse, it's important to be able to work as a team with physicians, physiotherapists, dietitians, etc. In your first year at the U of A, you'll cover a broad spectrum of things like anatomy, physiology, microbiology, foundations of nursing, English or writing studies, pathophysiology, pharmacology, research, etc. After the foundational courses, you'll start focusing on nursing practice, assessments, regulations. You'll also get hands-on experience through labs and clinical practice in professional facilities like hospitals, long-term care facilities, schools, and organizations. The foundations of nursing requires lots of reading up on ethics, protocols, and nursing concepts in general, while more biological courses requires memorization and understanding. Additionally, the U of A requires you to take one elective to fulfill your degree requirements, but this can be anything. Lots of nursing students choose to take psychology or another humanities course because it overlaps with a lot of our nursing education. These courses prepare you to write the NCLEX, an exam that you need to be licensed as an RN or a registered nurse. It tests your knowledge, skills, and abilities essential for safe practice at entry-level nursing. Additionally, if you apply to the honors program, you develop your own research project in your 3rd or 4th year, so you can take a few extra courses that'll help you with that. There's also a flow sheet that you can find on the Faculty of Nursing website that will list all the courses that you need to take in your degree, whether honors or collaborative. I encourage you to look up the course codes as well to get any more idea on what you'll learn. It averages out to about 4 courses per semester, which is pretty doable compared to some of the programs like science or engineering. The competitive average to get a seat in nursing varies year to year, but I hear it's usually around the high 80s or the low 90s. The university doesn't post the competitive averages on their website anymore, but Reddit is a pretty helpful resource for those types of questions. As well, the university just made the CASPER a requirement to get in. The CASPER is an online judgment test that assesses non-cognitive skills and characteristics. I personally never wrote it, but I hear that they give you an interpersonal situation or a conflict, and then you have to write about how you'd respond within a given amount of time. In regards to scholarships, nursing has some pretty good undergraduate ones, but don't forget to apply to them, even before you accept your offer. They offer these scholarships yearly too, so make sure to jot down important experiences about leadership, your passions, and periods of growth in general somewhere so you can provide quality answers. Also, don't wait till the last minute to complete your scholarship. The deadline always happens to sneak up on me, but trust me, you'll feel a lot better if you start on them the minute they open. If you're asking which courses you should take out of those options that you have, I'd really just recommend taking whatever gives you the higher average. I took Math 30-1 and Math 31, and I found that I had a higher mark in 31, so I used that. I also used French as my options class because I did really well in it and I enjoyed it. Once you're enrolled, nursing courses don't usually have much wiggle room in terms of choosing different professors or class times. My favorite class, however, was Med Micro with Dr. Canarpe, so if you have a chance to take that, I'd highly recommend it. She makes infections and pathogens sound so interesting, as funny as that sounds. Once you get into clinical placement, your schedule mostly revolves around that. So basically there's 2 cohorts depending on which days of the week you choose to have your clinical rotation on. This makes it hard to take extra classes outside of the schedule that the faculty sets out for you, since your whole day is basically blocked off for clinical. You can still take courses in the spring or summer though. Any Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree will help you to become a registered nurse in Canada. With this, you can do so many things. You can work in hospitals, schools, rural communities, research labs, or for a big company. You can even travel the world as a nurse on a cruise ship or even at Disneyland. Especially at a research-centered university like the U of A, you can contribute to nursing or medical research after graduating, pursue graduate studies, or continue in academia. A lot of my mentors go to the U of A's nurse practitioner program in their graduate studies, or even apply to med school, especially with their research background in the honors program. As well, many students get hired by hospitals right after graduating, or even get offers during their final preceptorship as fourth-year students, since nurses are in high demand, especially now during the pandemic. So I actually live here on campus, even though my home is about 40 minutes away in Sherwood Park. Living in residence has allowed me to be a lot more active and engaged in student life and events. Especially at the beginning of the year before COVID, our student union always hosts tons of events during our week of welcome, from clubs fairs to beer gardens and socials at our campus bar, room at the top. I also work in residence as a resident assistant, so it's super convenient for me to work and live in the same place. For first-year students, I'd really recommend experiencing Lister, one of our housing options, as there's tons of culture there. It's the best way to jump straight into your typical first-year culture. Personally, I've lived in Peter Lougheed Hall, Neepsey House, and Maple House, and there's charms to all 3 places. However, it can be on the pricey side, but I'd say it's worth it with all the amenities and perks of living in the heart of student life. Another upside to living on campus is how close it is to White Ave and downtown, popular spots for students to gather on weekends for food, fun, and nightlife. Residence is also a great way to meet friends, as you're constantly surrounded by like-minded people. Especially if you're in a highly collaborative program like nursing or engineering, you'll always find study groups in residence. I've met some of my best friends and mentors here. I'd say that the U of A is pretty accepting and diverse in terms of ethnicity, gender, sexuality, and religion. I've learned a lot from the people that I've met in residence, as well as through campus life programming and educational booths. Especially in residence, we have a large international student population, and specific housing options catered to them. For example, International House, a residence dedicated to bringing together students from 40 plus different countries. I love the culture there because it's focused around community and culture with shared kitchens, music, and dance nights in order to bring cultural appreciation and competence. Personally, the University of Alberta is great at balancing academics with all the other things that comes with student life, such as figuring out who you are, maintaining well-being, and finding support. All students have the option for the student union's health and dental plan, which keeps you covered for a majority of your insurance needs. However, if you're already covered by a plan, make sure to cancel this on time, usually at the end of September, as I've missed the deadline before and it's expensive, especially if you're already covered. As a resident assistant, I'm educated and updated on the resources available on and off campus and how students can access them. So if you're living on campus, go to your RA for support. These include academic, mental, relational, financial, and legal support. Students have their own access to an array of resources such as professional counselors, nutritionists, and physical consultants. If I could give my first year self some advice, it would be to start studying right from the get-go. There's a lot of things at university that can distract you, from finding new friends to joining clubs and getting involved in extracurriculars or work. However, it's also so easy to fall behind, especially since you have way more independence than in high school. University is an exciting part of your life, and probably a period of time that you'll never forget. You'll learn a lot about yourself, other people, and the future. It can be scary sometimes, stepping into something new and not knowing how it's gonna go. This makes it all the more important to focus on your mental health and take a step back when you need to. It's not the end of the world if you say no to your friends' plans, change your major, or even fail a class. Just take the time that you need to recharge even when deadlines are piling up. Stepping away from your laptop and your schoolwork for just even a half an hour to do something that you love, like go for a walk or talk to a family member, can really make all the difference. So just remember to be kind to yourself. You got this.